I also want to go over to Chicago really quickly because Brandon Johnson, let's just spend 10, 15 minutes on this one. Brandon Johnson has put his budget proposal on hold. Now, y'all know that they have to have this budget done before the end of the year, right? And y'all know that they had all year to get this budget done, and they knew that they was going to be facing a $942 million deficit, right? But that's not all. Let's continue.
Chicago City Council has 3 weeks to pass the city budget. Mayor Brandon Johnson wants to vote this Friday. However, some alders are still not sold on the new taxes, fees, and fines the mayor is proposing. Political reporter Marianne Ahern here now to tell us what happens next.
Marianne, aldermen are recognizing it's down to the wire with a deadline of December 31st. The mayor's allies feel he has been listening to their feedback, but it is not clear if he has the 26 votes he needs. Mayor Brandon Johnson's office now proposing a $68 million property tax levy. That's down from the initial $300 million. It's the third version of the budget with mere days left to negotiate.
I do not think that there will be 26 votes to pass this budget on Friday.
The proposed taxes add up to $234 million, plus a number of fines and fees controlled by the city. Taxes would be hiked on things like streaming services, cable, and parking garages. Aldermen react.
What you see before you is just really a budget that is going to nickel and dime the residents of the city of Chicago once again.
Nobody in the city council wants to raise taxes, but I don't know what the alternative is.
Plus, the city's tax on grocery and other store bags would go from 7 cents to 10 cents. Los Angeles also charges 10 cents.
A bag tax, that can be avoided if you bring a tote with you to your shopping place.
This is so dumb. This is the dumbest thing that I've ever seen in my entire life. I'm not sure that there is a worse mayor in the United States of America. I'm not sure if we have a worse state or worse mayor of a major city. Again, remember that there's probably hundreds, if not thousands, of mayors across the United States of America, right? Major city, large city mayors are under fire. Governors are under fire. I am not sure that we have had a worse large city mayor in the 2020s than we have for Brandon Johnson right now. He could quite possibly be the worst large city mayor in the United States of America. And they don't even have a budget deal. And they had all year to get this budget deal passed. And it's in the 11th hour, and he's putting it on hold. The fool, man.
Consumers aren't exactly thrilled.
What you gonna do?
They turning it into California.
The mayor has repeatedly pledged no layoffs of city workers.
A budget that would lay off workers and cut services is just, one that should not be tolerated by any Chicagoan.
Alderman also confirmed Johnson has proposed adding new speed cameras to pay for police officer jobs as part of the federal consent decree.
More taxes. This is what this is. When you talk about the cost of living in these cities, he's basically taking the worst of what you see over in Los Angeles and California and New York City, and he's bringing all of the worst over to Chicago without the infrastructure to support it. Because remember, New York City is the financial capital of the world. New York City has the ability to continue to fleece the people in New York with the highest taxes in the land because they are the financial capital of the world. They are the tourism capital of the United States of America. So they have the ability to do this. They can get away with doing dumb stuff at $1 billion budget and messing it up and just getting a new mayor and having a bunch of migrants for no reason. Los Angeles. People like to live on the West Coast. Bop, 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 bop. Squabble up. Squabble up. Squabble up. Hold up. People like living on the West Coast because the weather is incredible. The weather is incredible. Now, you might have some forest fires. You might have some mudslides. You might have some earthquakes that separate the entire state from the United States of America. But they could do that because Gavin Newsom is just going to run that city into the ground, and so they're going to operate at a deficit. Chicago, y'all the windy city. Not fucking cold it is in Chicago right now. Not cold it is in Chicago right now. You can't get away with the stuff that New York and Los Angeles is doing, and those cities is going down. You just going to go down faster. You're going to go down faster. You can't get away with this. Y'all have had a population decline every year and a budget deficit every single year. You're not going to be able to get away with this, big dog. You not Cali. You not New York.
We in the 34th Ward downtown, we have a lot of speed cameras already, so I don't think we need any more. But if some other alders want that enforcement, I think they should have it.
Tomorrow, we will see where the city council stands at this point. They'll be taking that first committee vote that's required ahead of the final vote expected on Friday. What if there is not a majority? Vice Mayor Walter Burnett says the city council will be at City Hall every day until they pass that budget, if they don't have one by Friday. Stefan?
Could be burning.
Check this out, though. You know what's so interesting about this situation is right after that, I seen this Chicago alderman blasting the mayor off of the proposed salary increase for the vice mayor in Chicago. Look.
The Chicago City Council will vote today, maybe, on a new city budget that includes $234 million in tax hikes. Yesterday, the Chicago Tribune reported the new budget supports a 62% increase in city spending since 2019. Chicago is outspending L.A., New York City, and Houston by far. Ninth Ward Alderman Anthony Beal joins us now. Okay, we're trying to hash this out. Is there a vote today or is there not a vote today?
Well, we really don't know yet. We're hearing, through different avenues that they're going to try to postpone the vote. But we've already postponed it long enough. The budget has been pushed back a couple of months, and the mayor's been trying to buy time, and he's been trying to buy votes. And, right now they don't have the votes, so I think they're just trying to, buy themselves more time in order to try to convince other aldermen and probably buy some more votes to go their way.
Okay, so let's say that then a budget either isn't voted on or does not pass ultimately within the next week. We have a deadline at the end of the year. What happens next?
Well, the thing is, they've been trying to have this scare tactic saying, if you all don't vote for it, we have to vote for it by the end of the year. And this has been a disaster that has been created by the administration. They purposely pushed this back to try to force us into the holiday, into the new year, trying to force us to vote on something that we know is a horrible budget. And so we can extend it. There's nothing in the law that says we cannot extend our budget past the first of the year. Yes, by law, we're mandated to do it. But, we can always extend it. We can do a 2-month or 3-month budget in order to get this thing right. So we're not going to be forced into voting for something that we know is totally inadequate for the people of the city of Chicago.
So the Chicago Tribune yesterday put out this editorial saying that Chicago spends way more than the other 4 largest cities in the country. And that includes when you take out the pension obligation. We are still spending so much. Why are we spending so much money, and where is it all going?
We've always had a spending problem. And that's why the coalition of 15 aldermen have been staying together to say, look, we need to have cuts and efficiencies. When we have a disaster like this, when we have $1 billion deficit, how do you continue to spend without first looking for cuts and efficiencies? How do you look to increase certain aldermen's budgets and take other aldermen and give their wives security detail in this budget when we have a budget deficit? We need cuts and efficiencies, and we can get there. We've identified over $1 billion of cuts and efficiencies, and this administration has ignored it. And we're not talking about layoffs. They're trying to scare people saying they're going to be layoffs. We've never said anything about layoffs. There's enough fat and efficiencies in this budget to where we can cut over $1 billion out of it without having any layoffs. Our budget has increased $5 billion over the past.
Wait. Did he say that they can cut over $1 billion out of the budget without no layoffs, but y'all got a $942 million budget deficit? Did he say that? Hold on, let me see something. I thought I heard something wrong.
And efficiencies in this budget to where we can cut over $1 billion out of it without having any layoffs. Our budget has increased $5 billion over the past 4 years. This is out of control, and I'm really excited that the aldermen are finally standing up and they're seeing what we've been talking about.
$1 billion? A billion with a B. And they still raising city taxes on y'all? And they still giving money over to the migrant crisis? Man, listen, bro. If y'all are as Chicagoans, you know, we got a mayoral election within the next 2 years. The same way that y'all got a mayoral election, we got a mayoral election. We've had a phenomenal mayor. I'm not even gonna cap. A phenomenal mayor in Mike Duggan, which Mike Duggan is now moving on and he's going to be running for governor of Michigan. I am very much excited and hopefully we can get together. We are going back and forth. And at some point, I'm expecting to interview him inside of my new studio next year, along with a lot of other different politicians from all over the country. And then in addition to that, I'm expecting to do some bigger interviews, and it's a lot coming soon. We have an upcoming mayoral election in Detroit. If you think for 1 second, because I've seen a lot of people throw their hats into the ring, I've seen some lifetime politicians say they want to be mayor of the city, so on and so forth. If you think for 1 second that I am going to rest on my laurels and I am not going to play a pivotal role in what happens in the election of Detroit, all politicians in this city from now on, they go through me. All roads, and we proved that this last election. Michigan turned red. All elections in the city of Detroit and in Michigan, all roads lead through me. Not Fox 2 News, not the local Fox 2 News, not the local news over there, not the local news over there. None of them do even remotely the type of numbers or have the impact on what happens in the city. All roads lead through me. If you don't think for 1 second that I am going to be vetting these candidates with a fine-tooth comb and determining and playing a bigger role in what happens in my city, because I'm not going to have nobody come in like Mayor Johnson and mess up what we got going on. We moving. We shaking and moving. Things are going well. Development, business leaders are participating. I see cranes all in the sky. Money is moving in, people moving in. We got, for the first time, we've had a population increase and not a decrease. If the people of Chicago is not going over these budgets with a fine-tooth comb, with the Freedom of Information Act, to try to understand exactly where all of this stuff is coming into and where all of this money is going, that is a problem. That is a problem. If the people are not going through, BizQ says, Anton, your city is liberal. It is. Technically, it is liberal. Technically, it is liberal, but we have become more conservative than ever. And I don't think that Mayor Mike Duggan, he's current mayor of Detroit. You know what Mike Duggan said? He said that he's not running as a Democrat anymore. He's only running as an independent in order to become governor of Michigan. He's abandoning the Democratic platform himself because everything that he's done from a business perspective, Mike Duggan was a businessman. He was a CEO before he became mayor of Detroit. And he's worked very well with all of the city council and all of the business leaders and everybody that's in the city and the police, chief of police, and he supported them. All of his values, see, I believe a lot of these mayors and stuff like that, they run as Democrats because they understand that people vote based off of identity politics and an alignment with a party historically, but it doesn't mean that the things that they don't execute on is conservative. So I look at the individual candidate, not just the party that they run on. And if the people in Chicago are not, and I'm not talking about Chicago flips red, Chicago flip red is I love what y'all got going over there. But how are the people not going over these budgets with a fine-tooth comb to try to understand where they got all of the fat at? Why are the aldermen the only ones that knows what's in these budgets? All roads going forward come through. Don't do coke in the bathroom studios. All roads go through there. Here in Michigan. Now, entertainment-wise, I don't get involved in all of that. I don't get involved in politics and the rap culture in the city and none of that. That's for y'all. But when it comes to business, money, and politics, all roads come through. Don't do coke in the bathroom studios. That's it. That's it.
for a long time, and they're standing up to saying, you know what, enough is enough, and we need to get the city back on the right track because it's headed in the wrong direction.
What kind of cuts would you propose? What have you found? Where is the
Shout out to
bloat that
MD.
can be cut?
Well, when you look at the fact that we've gone up $5 billion in 4 years, what we've proposed to the administration is go back to 2020 levels, pre-COVID, and then look at that number and then do the cost of inflation, which is 3 or 4% per year. That alone is $536 million. We all know that we need public safety. There are over 2,000 police vacancies in the police department. There's no way on earth we can fill 2,000 vacancies in a year. So let's take 1,000 of those positions and put them on the shelf, not eliminate them, but put them on a shelf because we can't fill them anyway because we don't have the capacity. We can save $172 million by just putting those positions on the shelf and come back, and when things get better, we can start filling those positions. We can't fill.
Y'all need more police officers. Y'all down over 2,000 police officers. Y'all need police. Y'all gotta have police.
Anyway, we don't have the capacity. We can only put about 120 officers through the academy every month. So even if we did on the height, we're only talking about 1,200 officers that we can put through the academy. So that's another $172 million. So that's just the tip of the iceberg. When we look at all the bloat that's in all of these different departments, we can cut it and we can get it done. So I'm imploring all of my colleagues, vote this budget down. Let's start over and let's really force the administration to do the right thing by the people of the city of Chicago, and we can do it.
Okay, I can't let you go without asking you about this. Exclusively breaking news yesterday on Paris on Politics that in this budget that Mayor Johnson is proposing is a $400,000 salary for the vice mayor for the city of Chicago. Explain that one.
Well, let me just say, in my 25 years in the city council, the vice mayor has never had a budget. It is just a position in the event that anything happens to the mayor, which we definitely don't want anything to happen. However, $400 million. So when you look at the vice mayor, he has 3 budgets. He has his Aldermanic budget, he has the budget of zoning, and he has a budget on the vice mayor. Vice mayor has never in history had a budget. But yet you get $400,000 basically for people to do nothing. It's to reward people for doing what you want them to do.
I don't know how y'all. This is insane. This is absolutely insane. Y'all need complete reform in Chicago. Y'all need complete. Somebody said for how many years? That's 1 year. That's 1 year. They're doing a budget for next year. That's it. That's per year. Y'all need complete reform. They are finessing the people in Chicago. I am appalled. I am appalled. No way, no how y'all are letting this fly inside of y'all city. Ain't no way y'all just letting these people finesse y'all out of anything. Yes, it said vice mayor. Vice mayor. And they giving themselves raises. Raises. Man, that whole city would be upside down if I lived in Chicago. If my home city, born and raised in Chicago, I would be hot. I would be livid. I would be absolutely angry. I would be on fire. How are y'all not 100% pissed off and they taking shot spotter out of y'all neighborhoods and reducing police officers? The freak is going on in that city? Good. Googly moo.